So hello Rachel,
Hi Fergus.
tell us about yourself. Who are you? What's your name? Where are you from? What do you do?
My name, as you already know, hopefully, is Rachel Zylstra, and I'm an American, originally from the northern Midwest. So my family moved around a bit. I was a pastor's kid. We lived in Wisconsin and Iowa, and Michigan, had family connections in Michigan, and I lived there for a time as a student. I am a singer-songwriter. That has been my bread and butter a couple of seasons of my life, and it's definitely been a passion since I was a student, and something I've been doing since high school, college. Yeah.
And we've had the chance to experience and enjoy your singer-songwriter skills as part of Reviving Artists, and we're so thrilled and grateful that's happened.
It's a pleasure.
So as you've been working on Reviving Artists, maybe your process has been different, maybe it's the same. Do you tend to build a piece slowly over the course of several edits, or is it one that tends to just emerge more quickly after maybe a few months even of thought?
Well, I'd say songs always come out a little bit differently. The process is often a little bit different with each song. I'm not somebody who is very diligently self-disciplined about the writing practice, and of course in different seasons of life it's made a lot, you have more time or less time to really reflect and work and create. But I'd say that for me, there's a few gem songs in my repertoire over the years that have come out almost fully formed over the course of maybe a couple hours of writing, or like an improvisation, an improvisation that I recorded and then it's there. I mean, I feel like that's very much a spirit thing when that happens. More often, it's about the kind of crafting something, starting with a concept, starting with maybe some chords and a little bit of melody and a little line or a couple of lines that are really like kind of grab me and kind of compel me towards, okay, what is this about? And then kind of working it and chipping at it and building another verse and building a chorus. And it does take discipline. Once you have that idea, then the hard part is getting stuck in and figuring out, is this worthy? Is this gonna go somewhere?
As you have been going through that process for this project, you've been particularly focusing on reviving or revival. So has the way you think about those concepts evolved at all over the course of the project?
Yeah, so when you came to me with this project, I was very delighted to be asked. And there's nothing like a deadline, even a soft deadline, to kind of get things moving along. And as far as the concept, it was one that I hadn't consciously explored in previous writing. So it was a bit new territory to think about, what is revival, or what is reviving, and especially coming out of this time of lockdowns and pandemic, I think it was a great idea as far as people feeling weighed down, feeling kind of stuck in ruts and kind of stuck in the mire of some dark days, and figuring out, where are we going to be refreshed? Where from what sources are we going to draw to be revived?
Was that need for revival that you're talking about, a lot of people in the culture feeling they need something that you felt?
Was that something that I personally felt?
Yeah.
I would say yeah. And like on a face value level, even getting asked to do this project, there was a reviving aspect of that to my creative process and to my creative work, because it's like, oh, okay, I'm being called into doing something, And I mean, that's one of the things with being an artist, which I'm sure that a number of people can relate to as artists, that you really have to drive it yourself a lot, unless you're kind of at a point, this very established point where you're getting commissions and you're getting called in to do projects all the time. Like, you have to have that drive to do it, because you're the person who cares. You're the person who's going to care the most about, like, is this a song that should be heard, or is this a song that should be written? Yeah. But yeah, I definitely felt, well, honestly, I think people went through this diversity of experiences, and some people are still going through a hard time. The lockdown time wasn't as challenging I didn't feel as personally challenged and like dragged down through that time. Like, there was a lot of lovely aspects to it, but from a creative perspective, it was like, and I mean, it's in one of my songs. Like, I don't have time. I feel like I don't have the headspace. I don't have the time to just sit down and create.
You've created 2 fabulous and unique songs, and I love that one. I love the fact you drew on that lack of time and the desire to have people say that girl's been revived.
Yes, exactly.
But do you feel, after this process, or after writing that song, or just generally, do you feel that you are able to say that girl's been revived?
I would say yes. Yeah, and the discovery and the crafting of that song was helpful for articulating and understanding in what way have I experienced some revival in my life. And yeah, so becoming a parent, becoming a mom, that being the thing that has really pulled my attention away from creating, and also pulled my identity away from my identity as an artist, which I think I quite treasured in myself. And I still, I want to count myself an artist, but when you have months going by when you're just not, you're focused on just like doing life and this and that and family commitments and so on, then you start to wonder, am I an artist? So yes, becoming a parent is such a consuming shift in life stage. And yet it brings with it, it's cliche, but of course it's to experience personally, like, oh, this is what they mean when it's like, oh, it's so rewarding to have a child and, that experience of love and so on. And while you're also just like sacrificing everything and like your hair is falling out, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, I just need a moment. But it's then you have these like amazing, it's really incredible.
So you feel you can now own and kind of accept that cliche of it's rewarding.
Yeah. And I can own that, like, revival and revivification is not going to always look like, and then there's a glossy sheen on it. Like, sometimes it's going to be like bedraggled and sort of tired and exhausted, but you have this like joy in your heart and you're like, oh, I've been given a lot. Like, this is really wonderful.
So picking up on maybe the tension between discovering this new revival coming from motherhood and this new identity, I'm still feeling as an artist and identifying as an artist. I noticed in Make, which is the other song you've written for us, the phrase "matter of must" comes up a lot, and that fascinates me. And I wanted to ask, does that relate specifically to the feeling that you must create as an artist, or is it something else?
Yeah, that phrase, to me, there's a bit of a dual meaning with that phrase. And so one would be the this aspect of like the human desire and urge to create and to make, and that's given to us, I believe, because we were created in God's image and God is a creator, and we've been, endowed with that creative spirit and creative impulse as well. And I think, to me, an interesting example of that, as far as that drive and how like powerful it is when I encounter art that, to me, I mean, of course you encounter art that just like feels to you transcendent, beautiful, like truthful, all these things. When I encounter art that is very intricate, clearly loads of work was gone into it, but it's just not my taste. You know, I've thought to myself before, like, oh, that like mosaic tiger in those really bright colors, that looks like it took ages, you know, to put all these pieces together. Like, yeah, it's not really my style, but the person who made that, it was everything. I mean, like, that was so many hours of time and so much consideration of composition and everything. It's like, that mattered. That person really, like, that artist really wanted to like share a vision. And I think there's something really powerful to that, is like, when you look at how much people put into the things that they create and the things that people choose to create, that are, you know, there's such a spectrum of things, of creativity and art. So that's one side of it. Then the other one, matter of must. In the previous verse, it says, write it, write this, write it now, and be true in the what and the how. And that, to me, is kind of the other meaning, as far as as an artist, I feel I'm meant, like, it's kind of on me to be responsible with what I'm saying in my music, in my song, to be responsible that it is true to the best of my experience, you know, that it's something that is going to speak genuinely from my experience to other people's. And I think I've had to kind of test myself, and I think over the years too, maturing as a songwriter too, I've looked back on some of the things I've written and thought, yeah, that makes a really clever, sort of catchy comeback sort of song, but like, is that all true? You know, like, was that sort of like response song to this like relationship gone bad? Like, was that all true, or was that sort of me sort of getting some snark in and processing it without being as sort of considerate of, am I putting out there something that's genuine? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not to make it like overly serious, you know, because there's wonderful things that people create that are just kind of like a bit flippant and off the top of your head. Like, we need that too. You need some flippancy, you need some humor and so on, but like, yeah, I think it's an impetus on the artist to showcase something that they themselves stand by, that they believe in.
And so when it comes to yourself as a creator, who has some belief in a creator and being created, lots of creation words, what elements of your own faith or your faith journey perhaps do you think are relevant or impact your art, your creativity?
Yeah, and that is a good question. I would say that my faith, which I have held through my life at different stages of maturity and commitment and so on, but it's a faith that I grew up in, and then also have grown up into, once again as an adult. That has very much, one, it's been an undercurrent as far as the content of the things I write about since I was like a teenager. And as far as how much it like shines through or not, it kind of just depends on the era, and it depends, of course, where I'm at in my spiritual walk. When I was first becoming, kind of seeing my identity as a singer-songwriter and writing lots of music and playing in cafes in college, I actually was quite sensitive to not being labeled as a Christian artist, because there was this sense of, there was an ethos at the college I went to, Calvin College, which is a Christian college, that, the world, God uses art to speak truths to people. And you don't have to, a non-Christian can make an amazing, this is like, 101. Like, this is easy stuff probably for most people who are watching this. Like, if you're a Christian in the arts or somehow tangentially related to that, it's like, you don't need to beat people over the head, and you don't have to evangelize in art. Like, art is a good thing. It's like something God gave us. Beauty is something God gave us. That it's going to speak to the truth, and it's going to speak to beauty and love, without having to sprinkle in certain catchwords or anything, And so I think I've had that in mind from early on, and so whatever I'm singing about, and sometimes it's like I'm just literally like writing a song about like a work situation, or in the past, like about a relationship or a person and so on. And my faith comes into that, or these sort of places of tension, places of doubting, places of wondering, like, what is the plan here? But it's not overt. But then meanwhile, I think, again, just feeling convicted of being made by God and loved by God has helped, as far as just feeling encouraged to do this thing that, I think God gives people in different ways, and there is something that I want to do right by that.
Well, we all certainly feel both blessed and revived through what you produced for us. I want to say thank you again for that. And I don't believe that you have created, in your own words, Christian art full of buzzwords. That's it. You've created things that are very real, very meaningful for you, from a place of seeking truth, and we love that. And so I just want to ask, to finish, if people have enjoyed your work, and I think many people will have, how do they find out more about Rachel and what she's up to?
Absolutely, thank you. Well, I have a website, rachelzylstra.com, and currently my whole music catalog is available right there on that website for download. There's also CDs. My entire music catalog is not available on all digital distribution streaming type sites, but you'll find it all on the website. There's a place where you can support my art, support the music making and so on. And I'm very excited that actually you guys here at Cornerstone are going to be hosting myself and Christy Ringrose for a concert on the 6th of November. So if you're local to Edinburgh, that's definitely, it'd be a great support and encouragement if you enjoy this, to come out and support a live event, which is really exciting. I have not done a live concert in like 3 years, so.
Rachel, our new surviving artist, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.